Chair Stearns is out of town today, and so I will be filling in for him chairing today. We actually are going to begin with a ceremony, and very happy to have the Honorable Justice Graham Mew, who is here to swear in our new member, who is Councillor Greg Ridge, and then also the current members under the Community Safety and Policing Act. So Justice Mew, thank you so much for coming today. I'm going to hand the proceedings over to you for the swearing in, and then we'll good. Just a few. Thank you so much for coming today. Would it be okay if we did a picture with you? Okay, so I think we can continue at this point. So next on our agenda, we have a presentation from Inspector Greg Sands, who is going to update the board 2024 quiz, homecoming and faux coming. Inspector Sands, welcome, and I will to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Red minute was off. Flipping slides for me there. Jockey everything. Okay, so I'll be fairly brief here. I know that time is the essence for most people, so I'm neglectful if I didn't have a title page. So this year's homecoming, and then there was also a fake homecoming to follow up. Briefly, I'll just start with some of the history that it's been nearly 100 years ago that the Queen's University started the celebrations for homecoming. It was an opportunity for the alumni to reconnect and to support the school's football team. Somewhere in that history, it was hijacked by the current students, and it turned into large street parties and public disorder and damage to property, forcing the Kingston Police to get involved and come up with some kind of an organized response to police these events. There have been a number of approaches over the years. As we all know, there's been several different ways we've tried to police these events, from the jersey walls to the 8-foot fence to the Red Cup brigades. We've tried a number of different things. I'm seeing a steady improvement as the years go on, as we're progressing and we're trying new things. And the Kingston, which is good because the Kingston Police really do want to reduce our footprint at these events. It does take a lot of people to be involved in this. You can see from the list there are some of our city partners that are all involved in this, including the university. We have our emergency response people that also are involved in this, regional ambulance, the Kingston Fire, our neighboring police services. So you can see them listed above there. The Ontario Provincial Police Public Order Unit attends, as well as their police liaison officers. And of course, our own Kingston police officers, our special constables, our civilian staff, and our Kingston Police community volunteers. It literally takes our entire organizations for these these events to go. Over the years, we've developed some strategies and identified them and employed them. One of the first ones is our corporate communication and media messaging. We're trying to get the social media messaging out there, trying to be consistent, discourage the illegal behavior and the unsanctioned gatherings. And it's not just the Kingston Police putting the messaging out; it's the city media. It's also Queen's University media, trying to get a consistent message out to all who might attend these events. The police liaison teams are also part of the deployment. We have our own members some of our own members that are trained in the police liaison as well. We borrow from the Ontario Provincial Police, and with the strong cooperation of the university itself, we're able to get in there weeks before the events start and try and get the consistent messaging out again. And it's an educational piece as well for those who might be willing to attend these events. Of course, we use any intelligence and open source strategy. That's a fairly basic one. We'll take any information we can get from whatever source available to try and determine what level of response that the police and our partners are going to have to put forward. The enforcement strategy, we started this a little while ago. It's an early and continuous alcohol interdiction, some firm enforcement of our municipal, provincial, and federal statutes by the police, and of course our city partners, the bylaw people, are heavily involved in the de-escalation interdiction strategy. Alone, it's a combination of our police presence, the police liaison teams are still involved, and the enforcement measures that we utilize to maintain the safety of everybody that's involved, including the community and our. So with student movement begins the upstaffing of our police resources and our police partners getting involved. And it lasts for that week leading up to the events, and actually it lasts most of the month of October. This year we saw fewer events, fewer violations, and we did have one event with a street takeover on a Saturday night, which is still less than what we've had to deal with in the past. For 2024, the move-in, these are just the statistics for the move-in weekend and the orientation week. The Kingston Police, a total of 162 violations handed out. Almost all of those were liquor related. I don't have the stats for 2023 in front of me, but I think that compares to roughly, Chief, I think it was 400, I think. The city bylaw provided their statistics to us as well. For that week and the move-in weekend alone, they laid about 161 violations, with close to half of those being for parking tickets, and then to abide by the signage. So for this year, Homecoming 2024 was scheduled for the 18th and 19th of October, and it actually looked as what a homecoming should look like. There was a number of alumni spotted throughout the city. The football game was sold out, very well attended. There was a few backyard parties, with only a few of those becoming an issue. And our members report that they were met mostly by polite, cooperative. That weekend, kudos to those that attended. Is actually what a homecoming should look like. For our statistics for that, just that weekend of the 18th and 19th, police laid a total of 67 charges, with the majority of those, 50 of those being open liquor. And our partners with City Bylaw provided their statistics of total administrative monetary penalties that they issued, 23 of those being found. Well, significantly less. You'll see in the slides come up from 20. This year marked another year of a fake homecoming. The information started rolling in. Weren't sure just how big it was going to be, but then the information started picking up. So we decided that we would have the same integrated response that we normally have for a homecoming event. And we quickly put together a response for that weekend. Again, we were met by mostly polite, respectful, cooperative people. For a couple of incidents, some backyard parties, but this year the streets in the university area all remained open. There was pedestrian and vehicular traffic was able to continue. So for that Saturday alone, Kingston Police issued 6 tickets, and the bylaw folks issued another 25 for just that Saturday. You compare to 2023, you can see the statistics yourself. Almost 200 less in offenses notices from one year to the next, and that's for both weekends. Last year was just the one weekend, and you can see the bylaw statistics. I think they had a total of 49 for this year, 2020 versus 130. So I would consider that significantly success. I did print the financial summary. I didn't change any of the words. This is right from the document that you already have. I didn't want to start messing with Scarlett's words because she was mad at me and I'd screw it up. So you can see that for policing costs for 2024, that's both weekends versus 2023 for the one weekend, and there's a decrease of 29%. It is a balancing act. We still, although we're being financially responsible, you still have to balance the safety of everybody. So there is a bit of a balancing act that goes into that. And kudos to everybody that was involved. This is the final slide where I thank everybody that was involved. We know that this age group is not unique to any university or anything like that. This age group will party and blow off some steam. We get that. We are very fortunate here in Kingston to have strong community partners. The university itself, Frontenac Paramedics, Kingston Health Sciences Center, Kingston Fire and Rescue, our neighboring police services, the City of Kingston bylaw, the other city services that were mentioned earlier. Everybody's involved in the week's proceeding and then over the weekend to make sure that the entire event is safe for the entire community. Providing that necessary measured response throughout the month of October does put a considerable strain on our members. To continue with the professionalism, and all of our policing partners, the emergency service partners, city partners, community partners should be commended for the dedication to the Kingston community and their efforts. Like I said, it's a lot leading up to and during and after. And of course, I'm a little bit biased, so I left the last sentence for us is all of our Kingston police members, sworn civilian and volunteers, should be commended for hard work and professionalism because those are the ones that actually make this successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, thank you. I think it was just a couple of years ago, I think spent $1 million dealing with this. So seeing that come down to 250,000, congrats to the team. I know it's been a long journey, but very, very happy with the action we're taking. So, Chief? Yep.
And just Greg was the commander. He put together with Nadine and some help from our staff putting it together. A lot of shift changes and which prevents overtime. And Greg, a commendable job on your part too. And we really appreciate everybody bending a little bit. And that's how we have the savings and to do the same next year. So thank you. Well done, Greg.
Great. Yes, Christian, go ahead.
And just to pile on the kudos, like we've really seen the shift from the reactive posture of policing to a proactive posture, working with the students, working with the community. And I just want to commend you both for the leadership that you've shown, and instead of trying to arrest our way out of these problems, working constructively with our diverse communities in the city to bring apart both the cost reduction and the much more constructive relationship that the police service now has with the student community at Queens.
And I think a lot of that a credit to our liaison teams and with the OPP liaison teams mentoring our people. And I know Acting Inspector Carla Stacey's here had a big part in creating the liaison teams, and we're seeing the benefits of that at a number of events, including our mass gatherings, but at protests and things like that. It's a very positive step forward.
And just push it one further. If there's one takeaway for us for next year, what would that be?
The takeaway for us is communication through our liaison teams. We had found in the previous years the communication we were trying to get out to the students, it wasn't making it to the right group. And we actually had a group of students come to us and say, "Hey, why aren't you just telling us this?" And we're like, "We are." And they're like, "Well, how are you telling us?" So we showed them, and they go, "Oh, we don't look at that." And we're like, that would have been good to know. So now that we knew it, and that's for us as a distinct, soon as we started with liaison teams and the communication strategy with the city, we're not here to ruin everybody's time. We're here to make sure everybody's safe, and then providing, here's what you're allowed to do. Here's what you're not allowed to do. They're like, perfect. Thank you. And we saw a complete change in attitude, but officers and interactions, and just, it was more positive and collegial. Like Greg said, it was like a real homecoming weekend, what homecoming was supposed to be, not a police versus student fight, which a lot of people thought was really supposed to be. So it's just changing the narrative. And I think the liaison teams out front, it's a game changer for us.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Are there any disclosures of conflict of interest? Okay, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda, please. Moved by Gail, second by Christian. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Next, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the minutes from our previous meetings from November the 21st, November 25th, moved by Christian, second by Gail. All those in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have a number of communications. So we would have a motion that the following communications from Ministry of the Solicitor General, Ontario Human Rights Commission, Office of the City Clerk, Canadian Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, and Ontario Association of Police Service Boards be received. First of all, are there any questions on any of the? Just ask for a motion to receive them. Moved by Christian, second by Gail. All those in favor? It's carried. Okay, we have no delegations this evening. We'll move on to information and recommendation reports. So first we have an information report regarding mental health calls, January to November 2024. Chief, do you want to speak to that?
Certainly. We wanted to include that each month we get an update through the technology we use in assisting us in mental health apprehensions. It's called Health IM. I wanted to provide them. I used to, in my previous role, provide them to our board to give a snapshot of what's happening in our community relating to mental health and the time. We're still fine tuning ours. The times aren't exactly perfected just yet. There's a couple of app things that we had to get updated. So we're working through that. So in that though, it gives a rough idea how many apprehensions we are. And then we're updating our time on scene and time at the hospital. And that's certainly for us one of our big barriers where we're spending a lot of time at the hospital, and we can just break it down each month, and it breaks it down into new apprehensions, people we've never seen before, chronic people that we're seeing all the time. And we can use this information also to feed our risk watch table, community safety and well-being data, things like that. So we just want to, and I think it's important that it's publicly aware and that the board's aware of what we're doing. We're going to fine tune ensuring that our times are accurate, as where right now they're a little off. I'd say they're a little conservative. We're spending usually a little bit of time, but we'll work through that. So that's just an information item for everybody, and more to follow on that. We'll do it quarterly instead of yearly. We just compiled it all this year.
Great, thank you. Questions? Okay, just a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Christian, go ahead.
Has there been any opportunity to reduce the amount of time that officers spend at the hospital, and also a collaborative sort of effort to try to see what we can achieve there to mutual benefit sides?
Yes, for sure. So we've been meeting with their security head of security and director of security there, and it's a work in progress because certainly it's not unique to Kingston. It's all generally what's happening at the time. There's prioritization, so we can run into some lengthy delays due to a serious accident on the 401 that brought a number of people into the ER, and we're continually advocating. The ER is in any community. The ER is the problem because that's where the loghead or the log jam ends because or starts. And so we're trying to find ways. The Mental Health Act and policy of hospitals preclude us from going around that. But if we could continue working with our hospitals and certainly our Schedule 1 and 2 psychiatric facilities, the problem is the ER. And bypassing the ER would be a great opportunity, but there has to be a number of things done on the hospital's end before a person gets admitted. So we're continually working provincially. We have committees that meet trying to get the best answer, and sometimes too, it just depends who the doctor is in the ER, and that can sometimes expedite our time in there. So there's so many variables, but we try and address it, and we do have the ability with special constables now. The new CSPA allows them to assist in apprehensions, certainly, or continuing an apprehension. So we're looking at all of those opportunities to get the officers back on the road as quickly as we can, and it's just something that we continue to monitor very frequently. And then we also follow up if we have extreme circumstances where they're there for an extended period of time. We generally will liaise with the hospital to just ascertain what happened. Is it something on our end? And usually we find out it's just, unfortunately, there was some people that were very unwell and needed help before they got to us. So we'll continue working on it for sure.
Chief, just to follow up on that. So you said it's a combination of both the Mental Health Act and the policies of the hospitals. So one of those requires, a lot of provincial advocacy to make changes to legislation, which is, obviously that's a challenge. But the other piece is just working locally. So is there a sense that we can make headway just working directly with the hospital, or does most of our work have to be concentrated on the legislation itself to help address this?
It's kind of both because we have a good relationship, so we try and work that locally. But the legislation, it hasn't been updated, the Mental Health Act, in a number of years. The legislation says that we must attend. It doesn't say we must stay at the emergency room but the wording is that we must stay until they take carriage of the individual. So nowhere does it outline you will go to the hospital, you will go to the ER, you will have the person assessed at the ER first and then carry on, whether there's an apprehension or not, because that's theoretically when we make an involuntary apprehension, we're going to the hospital to see the doctor, who is then going to either validate that apprehension or take on another road, and the person's released at that time. So it's a little combination of both, but we strongly believe the legislation needs to be reviewed again with all of the new data that is available provincially and globally. I think it's certainly across Canada. There probably is an opportunity. We're hoping that it'll be looked at in the near future, and manners in which we can streamline efficiency, because whether it's Hamilton, Toronto, or Kingston, or Rockville, at the end of the day, it's the same process and the same logjam at all the same so doesn't matter what agency or what hospital, that's where it is. So let's get hopefully some eyes on it who can make some positive change, which will make it a lot efficient for all of us.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions? If not, can I get a motion to receive the report? Moved by Christian, seconded by Jimmy. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Next, we have a recommendation report, bylaws to establish committees of the board. Questions on that? Not, we'll just look for a motion to adopt that move. Or Gail, did you want to wait to that? Okay. Are you okay to move it? Jimmy's okay to second it? Okay, so it's on the floor. Gail, over to you.
Yes, I think I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that we'll be, the board administrator, Lori Sargent, and I continue to work on policies or bylaws and on committee positions over the next to bring us into compliance with the CSPA. We'll also, just as a heads up, Member Hassan and I have been also discussing opportunities for the public to engage in some of these committees as well, so that we can engage the community and provide opportunity for them to serve on those committees, feeding into decisions and recommendations that the board is making. So I just wanted to give a quick heads up that there will be opportunity, hopefully in the new year, for more members of community to engage, particularly looking at members of equity deserving groups in the Kingston area, so that our voices continue to be strongly represented.
That's excellent. That's great. I know that the composition of the board itself is quite restrictive in terms of our ability to have members of the public participate. Gail, it's great to have you as our public appointee, so it would be great to be able to look at opportunities there at the committee level. Questions, comments? Jimmy?
It's not the question, it's the comments. I appreciate board member Gail McAllister for bringing this motion, and I'm happy to second it. She's well said this one. Since I'm on the board, it's my third year going to serve. I always feel proud to serve the community through committees and boards, and as a councilman as well. 3 years being on the council and on the board, I notice close to my heart, I notice every day when I sit on the committees and the boards, especially in the police service board, to making things moving forward fair and positively, to engage the public and the Kingstonian more with us. I think it's a very important step we should take. to engage the public, especially when we are thinking about um, launching a campaign for, come forward and report if you see, if you heard, and if you watch. And the people do not have whole a lot confidence in the service currently what we are providing. Not only the police service board, but many city services as well. People are so disappointed one way or the other. I don't know what the reasons are. I'm not going to discuss the reason, but there are some kind of disappointment is at very high level in the public. To tackle that and to overcome with that, I think it's very important we build the confidence between services we provide as a city and as a police to the public to let them know and let them see that their voice will be matter, their participation will be matter, and their help will um, help us as a board, as a service, as a committees, and as a city to move forward for the positivity to make Kingston a better, inclusive place for everyone. Especially if we have the committees and we can bring the board members from the public, from the visible minority groups, and the youth group. That's we are lacking of voices of the youth and visible minority groups on many committees, even in the city. As the city under mayor's leadership, we are working on it right now, and we're making the different change and the very visible changes we are bringing. We encouraging the people. So I think I appreciate it, and if we come to that conclusion when we have the committees, and I hope that we will be willing to, or we should be willing to give a chance to the people. Thank you very much for bringing it forward.
Okay, thank you. So that's been duly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to motions. First, we have appointment of special constables that the Kingston Police Service Board appoint Nathan Vecchio and Jillian Bracken as special constables pending completion of the requisite training pursuant to the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 and its regulations thereto. Can I get that a mover, a seconder? Moved by Christian, seconded by Gail. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Next, we have a transfer payment agreement for Next Generation 911 funding that the Kingston Police Services Board enter into transfer payment agreement with His Majesty the King in right of Ontario as represented by the Solicitor General, funding in the amount of $574,072. I have a mover, moved by Christian, seconded by Jimmy. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next, we have a motion regarding Zone 2 membership fees for the OAPSB, that the Kingston Police Service Board renew its membership with the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards in the amount of $100 for 2025. You can do that in the budget? $100? Okay, good. Moved by Gail, seconded by Christian. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, next we have a motion to appoint a new police officer that the Kingston Police Service Board appoint Jalen Wyborn as an officer of the Kingston Police effective January 2nd, 2025. Moved by Gail, seconded by Jimmy. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Transfer payment agreement for Youth in Policing Initiative. Yippee, that the Kingston Police Service Board enter into a transfer payment agreement with His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services for the Youth and Policing Initiative ending March 31st, 2025 in the amount of $35,470. Moved by Jimmy, seconded by Christian. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And we have one final motion regarding the 2025 Police Employment Conference that the Kingston Police Service Board approve the request of board member Gail McAllister to attend the Police Association of Ontario Police Employment Conference in Toronto in February 25th, 26th. By Christian, seconded by Jimmy. All those in favor? And that's carried. You're approved to go. Okay, new business. Oh, I guess this one's from me. Ontario's big city mayors advocate for provincial funding. You bet we do. So, as folks might be aware of, I guess it was several weeks ago that the province announced that in the face of very large police budget increases across the province, particularly very large bills for communities that have the OPP, that there would be provincial funding to help to assist with the very large cost increases. Obviously, very happy and good news for those communities. But as you can imagine, myself and other mayors were saying, well, you know what, the same cost challenges and cost drivers are present in our police services as they are in the OPP. And so, provincial government, we would expect that you would provide similar funding. I'm just letting you know that that is our advocacy position. That will obviously come up at our budget discussions in January as well. And so obviously appreciate the support of this board as we push for what we think is only fair treatment for other cities as well. So I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. Nope. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to all my board colleagues, the chairs, and the chief and his team, and the membership for this. This is the last meeting for this year. I want to wish all of you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And want to very grateful for working together with all of you, and looking forward in 2025 the same. We work together strongly and make our force more visible, with the positive image to the public, and tackle the issues we have in Kingston we're facing every day. No doubt, all of you, that you're doing a great job, and wishing you all to continue that, and request for the continuing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jimmy. Absolutely. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. And if there's nothing else then on our public agenda, I'll ask for a motion to move in camera, please. Moved by Gail, seconded by Christian. We'll be discussing several matters, respect to personal matters about a civilian member, litigation about a statement of claim, and a couple of other pieces. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thanks very much. We will reconvene in 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I want to thank you, all the reporters as well, for coming along every meeting, and a happy